so Jim, I have one of our base model develop airs in front of us, and we're going to show off the back. I don't know which camera will see that, if any of them. We have our 4-port side plate system here, which we're going to also be sharing our screen as well. But I'm going to our drone operating system platform called World's Eye View. Went to worldseyeview.com. Anyone can do this as well. I plugged in my USB radio and plugged in Develop Air. So Develop Air is just getting power through a battery. The radio that it's connected to is flashing green to show that it is in fact connected. And I'm going to open up our drone control application called iView Robo Control. I select Add a Drone. I'm going to connect to a drone and just select the radio from this drop-down list. I hit connect and I can see the battery level and voltage of the drone. If I was outdoors or somewhere where I could see satellites or Develop Air could see satellites, it would label how many satellites there are. But since we have no GPS connection, it's showing its location at 000, essentially in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But what we're going to show off is not any flight characteristics, but we actually have our different mod kits that we make for Develop Air. We're also making it so third-party developers can make their own attachments, or again, what we call mod kits for Develop Air. This is not necessarily our newest mod kit, as you've seen an older version of our claw machine, but this is the first time that we've developed it in a way that using our own software you can control it, and not just using our own software can you control it, it's just also made a lot easier to control than the other software that we used previously, which was Mission Planner. So I'm plugging it into port number 13 here as selected, and then just making sure drone 1 is selected, and now I should be able to lower.
Nice. And
then retract. And just to make it a little bit easier to read or understand for the everyday person, we're actually changing retract to raise. And then we're also not quite there yet, but a little sneak peek, adding in controller support. So beyond just using on-screen controls to lower or raise up the claw, allowing you to plug in like a game controller, an Xbox controller, a PlayStation controller, and you could press like the left 1 button to lower the claw and the right 1 button to raise it back up. So making it more like an arcade-like experience where we put together the world's largest claw machine like game or activity as a charity event for Toys for Tots, and really a marketing promotional event for us. But now looking to do that where we can sell Develop Air, so schools, they can put on their own claw machine games as fundraising events, or even just like the hobbyist enthusiasts that want to use this sort of technology, to play games. But a lot like the delivery drones out on the market or starting to come out on the market use a very similar sort of winch system to be able to lower the package down and pick it back up.
Question: what is the length, the maximum length of that claw?
I think on this version, as it's built, is 15 feet. It could be 10 feet, but we've previously built versions with 25 feet and could go quite a bit longer. The problem is, at least for us using it as a claw machine, like a game, the longer the string is, the more sway that you're going to have, and the more difficult it is to line up the drone and the claw to pick up a prize, which again, depending on the value of the prizes, you might want to make it more difficult for the players, but that's not really our purpose. Now, even though you didn't ask about this, one of the other cool sort of areas that we can and will go with this claw machine system, beyond just using it to pick up objects, we could also have a different type of claw to drop objects as well. Although we have like our deployment or dispenser mod kits that are probably better suited for any sort of dropping missions. imagine like a small little bucket or like a pail, and you could go collect water samples remotely, right? So instead of lowering down the claw to pick up an object, right, you're just lowering down
Like a hook or something, no.
or a little pail, right, that it
Oh,
hits
okay.
the
Yeah,
water.
yeah, okay.
And so obviously the way that it's built out right now is more so for just shits and giggles, for fun and games. But again, just trying to prove out a lot of the technology beyond just attaching a camera to your drone. That's
So
something anyone
can you
really
see
do.
this where my hand is?
There is no camera attached right now.
Right, but I'm saying for the.
Oh,
for
yes.
I can see you.
So
Yes.
demonstrate how it works without, you don't have to use the technology or the.
Actually, Brian, producer, will you bring over like the spotlight mod kit and
How
we'll
about
have it pick
his
up the
drink
spotlight.
bottle? Could it pick that up?
Yes, it could actually pick this up as well.
Why don't you
but
just see if it? I'm curious as to how it looks like.
I think this will be a better representation.
Well, just be aware, I can't see any of this when this is pulled up.
Okay. So let's see.
I'm wanting to see how it physically. It looks like you have a little release or a.
So it's like gravity, right?
Yeah.
So
okay. And then
and then
when
it
you
will
pick,
just hook
I
it.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here. That's what I wanted you to demonstrate. Let's see it. Let's see it. See if it can grab the water bottle.
And now the unhooking it is
Yeah.
hard.
That's yeah. So it works.
And it's really a grabber.
Yeah.
It's not a letter goer.
We have those.
So it would come down.
And
You're gonna actually get it to do it.
yeah,
Nice.
we'll see. So lower,
There you
and
go.
I missed it, but
Nice. That's not the most ideal thing to pick up
yeah.
with the way that's designed, but you could change your.
Let's see if maybe Jim can see that, or Jim's camera. I'm gonna stand up and raise it.
You got it.
So,
Cool. Okay.
and yeah, that's the claw machine. So,
So I mean, this on a massively bigger scale, could we see construction companies or?
again, with the delivery drones with very similar systems, DJI, the largest drone company, they have a specialized delivery drone. And at least out in China, they're picking up big solar panels and then flying across, a mountain range,
Yeah.
even just a few 100 feet away, but it would still be, a 10-minute walk there, 10-minute walk back. As
Or
opposed
a crane
Right.
wouldn't work because of the
Right.
terrain. It has to
So yes,
picking up the panel and putting it up on a really high place. The crane maybe couldn't get there, so you can fly it up with a drone.
I've even seen the drones, they will actually put like trusses in place, like small little rods, and they're actually like doing the manipulation as well. I think that's quite a ways until we start seeing that become commonplace, but absolutely, as we continue to refine the drones themselves, create new modules, new software to control those modules, open it up to third-party developers for them to, create their own software and their own modules. I mean, that's just going to become, part of your everyday, not just from a business perspective, but again, from a consumer, personal household perspective, just more hands around the house, right? And may not actually be hands, but yeah. So that's really what I wanted to show off. We're still making some developments, not just with the drone itself. As you can see, the attachments. That's a big kind of selling point with a drone like Develop Air is. You can go buy a flying camera drone off the shelf, take great photos and videos with it. You can attach nice camera systems to Develop Air, but the idea is if you don't want to, if you want to do other missions beyond just photography and videography missions, you don't have to buy a whole new drone, right? And given Develop Air is more of a development platform first and foremost, we have used it for commercial operations, and we do have a couple customers using them for commercial operations as well. But given most of them are within a high school, college sort of environment where the students are, learning how to operate a drone, but learning how to build them, learning how to repair them, learning how to use and attach new payloads to them, create new software applications. And that's what we really need, not just as a company, but as a country where, right now we have 1 million plus drone operators in the United States, but it's all pretty much relying on Chinese drone technology, right? And I think we've talked about that, really from both the consumer and like military defense perspective. I think we don't want to be reliant on the Chinese technology in the way that we are right now, especially in, we can kind of wrap it up on this discussion, kind of full circle back into politics. China, within the last week, they rolled out or announced, or maybe it got leaked, this like drone mothership. So it's a giant, almost like C-130 sort of cargo aircraft.
Wow.
But a bunch of like little side bay doors, like enough for a drone the size of Develop Air to fit in, and 10,000 of them, maybe 5,000 from each side just come out from this giant.
So it's a drone itself.
Well,
the big mothership is a drone.
It's a fixed wing airplane.
Okay.
It probably does have an autopilot. So,
but it deploys a lot of drones.
Correct.
It's changing warfare for sure.
Now, speaking of like that mothership being a drone, I did just recently see and shared amongst our team internally, Cirrus, the aircraft company, they have a red button up at the top of like their red Bhutan. They have a red button at like the roof of like the aircraft, and like in between the pilot and co-pilot and the passengers in the rear. And this is like a 6 to 8 seater aircraft, and they have basically the airplane will turn into a drone. So like, let's say the pilot or pilots are incapacitated and you have your wife and kids in the back seat, or some private charter clients in the back seat. None of them know how to fly an airplane. They can just press this one red button and the airplane turns into a drone, and it will find the nearest,
fly itself down.
Find the nearest airport. It will take into account all the terrain of the area around it. It will take into account the weather data that it's getting real time from radar, and then try to find the closest airport. All of the screens, they get changed to basically like a Google Maps type of screen to show like, hey, this is where you're heading. You're about 7 minutes away from landing.
So all that has to happen is the passenger just has to push the button.
The button. Yeah. I'm going to say button like 8 different ways, yeah. But yeah, so they press the button, and back the plane goes, and not back, it goes, and it will land itself, and it'll actually just stop on the runway, and at the time the button is pressed, emergency responders are all just alerted. There's like an emergency squawk frequency that you set your airplane to if you're in an emergency. I should really know it off the top of my head. I want to say it's 7,700. It might be 7,600, but let's say it's 7,700. So the airplane is finding its course back home, setting the radio to 7,700, alerting all the first responders, and they know, hey, the airplane's going to be landing at this airport, and they'll finish taxiing it and everything. So it basically lands. You as the passengers get out, emergency responders come get in the plane, and they'll get it
from
off
now
the runway.
on, whenever I get on a U.S. American plane, I'm going to be looking in the overhead to see if I see a red button that I could push if with the pilots become incapacitated. Now that's a cool idea, and I can see that as part of a safety redundancy, for aircraft in the future. Good podcast.
Yeah, and just to give you and the viewers a quick visual, that's what it looks like. And Cirrus is really kind of on the cutting edge putting this both in like some of their smaller like prop engine airplanes as well as some of their private jets. And not only do they have this as a safety feature, they actually have a parachute deployment system as well. So beyond the red button, you can pull the a handle up there next to it. And if you're, within 2,000-3,000 feet above the ground, can't find a runway or a spot to land, just pull the parachute. And as you can imagine, not a lot of videos out there of it being tested. I think the one internal test video that they published, they cut the video before like the plane lands on the ground with the parachute, because as far as I can tell, they don't want to lose a $2 million plane or a $1 million plane in a test like that. But
Yeah.
that's like part of the test, right? You want to see not only that the parachute deploys, but how softly it lands. And they say it equates to falling off like a 6-foot ladder,
Wow.
which,
Pretty amazing.
yeah.